One, two, three, four, five. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for watching. We're going to keep doing this every single night. And we know it's a scary time. I think that a lot of us are feeling the anxiety of being alone or being away from the people we love and care about and the people we work with. We're worried about our jobs, our careers, and the health of our families. I would lie to you if I would say that I'm not scared. I think it's natural to feel scared. But we're going to get through this together. And we just have to take it seriously until we get this under control. And I'm going to keep repeating that every single night. And I'm going to keep repeating my thanks to all the healthcare workers that are out there right now on the front lines of this. Tomorrow we're going to have a nurse from a local hospital on. It'll be our second nurse that we've talked to in the last week. And we're just going to keep talking. And hopefully, before we know it, we'll have this a little bit better under control. And we'll be moving towards a country we're more proud of. So right now, today I have Jenn Mehlenbacher on. Jenn, are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Nate. Thanks for having me.
So let me give you a brief intro. Jenn is she's involved in the Geneseo School Board, which is right in the center of NY27, I'm running to represent. She is someone who has had experience dealing with LGBTQ plus rights in her family. And as an advocate, she is someone who works directly in childcare advocacy. So we're going to talk about all those things. Is that okay, Jenn? We'll go over all those subjects?
You bet.
So, Jenn, you were born and raised in Geneseo, right?
Well, not born, mostly raised. I was born actually in Illinois and spent some time in Michigan, and then found my way here when I was about 7 and left for a short period of time to go to North Carolina after college, but then came back to raise a family. So there's been a few years.
Second person in a row that I had on that was born in Illinois and moved to NY27. So welcome. Glad you're here. So Geneseo is home though, since you were 7 years old.
Yep.
What's for those who don't know, what's Geneseo like? Tell people about it.
Oh, it's a wonderful community to raise a family in. It's a college town. We've got SUNY Geneseo here, beautiful village, wonderful surrounding town of horse farms and dairy farms, and we have the county seat here, so the courthouse is here, and all kinds of other businesses. Beautiful Main Street. It's rural in a sense. It's certainly not the city of Rochester or even Henrietta, but it's bigger than some of the other smaller towns around.
Well, it's a place. The schools. It's a place with a full Main Street because the schools there, and there's a lot of commerce.
Yep.
It's one of the jewels of NY27. That's for sure. Because
Yep.
it's the Main Street has little shops and little boutiques and great restaurants, great coffee shop. At least one good coffee shop, maybe more. What is it called again? Cricket.
Crickets have. Yep, we have crickets. Yep.
And they have oh my gosh, they have an amazing. For those who do not know, when this thing calms down, when we get through this virus thing, I bet they're doing takeout. They have an amazing Polish restaurant. Two sisters from Poland.
The Euro Cafe. They are doing takeout. You can get that now.
Oh, guys, it is so good. I mean, if you have the time, drive up and get some stuff to go. They have sausages and I mean everything. It's really a treasure. I love that place, and they're so nice. Those two women that work there.
Yeah, we have a lot of great restaurants in the area that are open for business. The Tavern, Village Tavern, and Burrito, and all kinds of places in town that people can still order out. Pizza places, obviously. So, yes, I highly encourage my family and I, even though times are tough, try to eat out once or twice a week to keep supporting those businesses, keep them up and running.
Well, I just had a conversation on the phone with my good friend Margaret Duff. Do you know her?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love Margaret, our
The,
mayor. Yes.
the mayor. She's one of my favorite people. I was probably on the phone with her an hour yesterday, and I, she's just one of these people you meet and you just you
You
walk
can't help
away.
but smile when you're around her. She's
It's
awesome.
right. The smile. Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to say it. So, and if you're watching, Margaret, good to see you. I'm glad you're in good health and home safe. Are you home safe right now too?
Am I? Oh, yes.
You,
I'm home safe up in my bedroom with my cat staring at me, wanting to jump on me, but I'm not letting her. So, yeah, we're all good here. Everybody's healthy and well, although my husband has to head back to his he's a biomed tech, so he'll be heading back into the hospital in a couple weeks. So I got a little bit of nerves going about that, but we'll get through. Everything will be
well,
okay.
my thoughts are with them. And you work for the school board. That's got to be a huge trial right now for all of you guys. How are you running school as we speak?
Well, I'll tell you, the last couple days have been pretty. The last couple weeks, but it's just every day is a new day. I mean, at first, obviously, we had the shutdown that happened very quickly, very little time to get prepared. But I will tell you, I have never been more proud to be a community member here, to be a school board member here, and I'll even say across our area. I mean, even all the local schools around us. It's not just Geneseo. Um, that we were able to very quickly mobilize when we shut down that weekend, a couple weekends ago. And by that Monday, we had Chromebooks being given out to all of our families that needed it for kids to get in contact with teachers K through 12. We had food deliveries that got all put together to start that following Wednesday and hasn't stopped since. We've got amazing staff, from admin, the superintendent, all food workers, bus drivers, teachers who at that very beginning were in the school, getting this stuff out, getting their
Are
lesson
you
plans.
guys providing food right now to kids who need it for pickup?
Yep. We as of this coming week, up until this week, we've been doing it every single day at 3 different locations. We've dropped breakfast and lunch at 3 different locations around town. And I know other schools are doing the exact same thing around us. And then starting this week, our school is going to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the well-being of our staff and workers, to keep them as home as possible, to keep them home. So we're going to be doing like
So you
bagged
can take
lunches.
extra? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it'll be like on Mondays, the families will get Monday and Tuesday's food on Monday, and then Wednesday they get Wednesday, Thursday, and so on.
How many kids are taking you up on it?
We have several hundred that we probably about, I think each day we were dropping somewhere in the range of 250 breakfasts and lunches, 280. I I assume those numbers are going to go up as time goes on. No one's turned away. I want to be very clear, and this is true for every school. No child under 18 is turned away. This isn't about whether your child received free and reduced lunch and only those kids get it. That's not it. It's any child in your school district who is 18 and under, who you feel needs it, gets it. So if you show up at these sites, we're not asking for ID. We're not asking to know if your child was in that free and reduced lunch program. You just get the bagged lunch and milk and breakfast, and it's awesome. It's really great.
I got to
I
say
was
to
impressed.
you and to all the school districts across the region, thank you for doing that. I know, I was a small town mayor, and I know the need that always exists. We kind of ignore hunger in this country, but hunger is always a problem. And especially in times like this when people are losing their livelihood. And I'm
Yep.
grateful for our public schools. And I also know you're trying to provide education. I know you're doing distance learning. All the schools are. And I know that costs money. Um, and we were just trying to get on the air just now. We were having trouble with broadband ourselves. And I know broadband's an issue across our district, even in Geneseo, where you have a great
Yeah,
school there. Go ahead.
it's an equity issue. I mean, we're being very conscientious of that. We have to be careful about, we're not grading anyone. I mean, all the things that are going out for educational purposes right now are not things that will be graded. They're things to just keep the kids engaged, involved, and interactive with their teachers, and but it's not going to be something that's they're held to in terms of grading, so that if a child is having issues with getting on Wi-Fi, obviously they can't be penalized for that or anything. Or quite frankly, right now, mental health is more important for a lot of our kids, and they can't deal with the school part right now. They need to be feeling safe and secure, and that's what we want the parents to be focusing on right now, if that's what the kids need. So it's about meeting these kids' needs where they're at when they're
We
at
had
them.
a mental health expert on a couple days ago, Celia Spicone, and one of the things she said is number one, every day, and I'm trying to do this, take a few moments with your kids and remind them that you love them and try to keep a safe space for them. And I'm trying to keep news out of the house that would scare them. And I'm glad that your school district is recognizing the importance of mental health. Let me ask you this. I heard there may be, listen, our state is under a great, I mean, this is a national tragedy.
Mhm.
And it is bigger possibly than any national tragedy our country ever faced, depending on how we handle it. And our state is losing millions and millions of dollars every hour.
Yep.
And I know the school districts, what's going on with that?
I'll be honest with you. I'm deeply concerned. I understand. I mean, obviously we know where we're at. At some point, it is what it is. I hate that saying, but it's true. Um, you only have so much, and if money's not coming in, money's not going out. So the governor has stated that he's not so sure he's going to be able to give the school aid the way he originally proposed. So right now is like all the schools right now are in deep budget season and getting ready to finalize their budgets based on the state aid runs that we received and how much we would get from the state. And then we have a budget gap. Most schools always have a budget gap of some kind, and we work out how to meet that budget gap. Our school happened to have a $500,000 budget gap.
Wow.
Once all those numbers were run, and that's low. I mean, we have a low one compared to a lot. So we had a 500,000 budget gap, have to find a way to meet that gap. And then we get this blow, understandably, on one level, it's understandable, but, to be told by the governor, we may not be able to send you that aid, period. And if we do, it may be that I have to send it to you in quarterly chunks, and I might have to reevaluate how much you get by each quarter. That's a tough way to build a budget. That's a tough way to plan for the future. That's a tough way for us to run any kind of business. So all the plans we had made up to this point about how we would close that $500,000 gap may get a lot more tricky if that $500,000 gap turns out to be a, $700,000 or
Well,
$1 million.
I have a lot of gratitude for you and all the other folks who are trying to make this work right now in our state. And I mean, our kids, I mean, they're the most important resource we have. And our public schools and our public teachers do not get enough respect, period. And I'm grateful for what you're doing. I know you also work in child care advocacy, correct? What's the organization you work for?
So I work for the Childcare Council, which is a child care resource and referral agency. Our main office is in Monroe County, Rochester. We have two branch offices. One is in Livingston County, which is where I am located. I run the branch office there, and another one in Wayne County in Newark. So basically, my job is to be at the branch office with my one staff member that I am in charge of, and we register and inspect the home daycare, school age programs that are in our Livingston County area. Yes, there are daycare centers. People are going to ask that. Yes, there are daycare centers and there are group family daycares also in Livingston County. However, they are overseen by the Office of Children and Family Services. They have that contract.
So are these daycare centers at all open now? Anything?
Yeah.
Is there, what's available for families right now that need it? Because a lot of people are in healthcare or essential services and they need daycare.
Yeah. So what's been happening is, first thing was first. Obviously, this all happened very quickly. The governor deemed certain businesses, certain people to be essential. Daycare were considered essential. So the first question was, do they all have to close? No. They don't have to close. There's no executive order saying they need to close. They're considered essential service. So then it was how many of them want to close because they're not obligated to stay open. So daycare centers, school age programs, family daycares, they all needed to make a determination for their own sake and their staff's sake about staying open or not. We had to gather that information as we went along the last few weeks. We're still gathering it daily, trying to keep track and keep a ongoing. It's a fluid thing. It's every day, an updated database of all of those local Monroe, Livingston, and Wayne providers that are staying open and have spots for children in their program. Office of Children and Family Services are working diligently to provide waivers to allow certain daycares that might be at capacity to possibly go over capacity to take in those children.
So let me ask you this: if someone needs daycare and they cannot afford it, what options do they have right now?
And they cannot afford it. Well, you mean like the essential workers, like the hospital workers, things like that?
Right.
That's an excellent question, actually. So right now, what we're doing is we're just helping link those people to the daycare providers in the areas that they need it.
So you're finding the ones that are open that have capacity to, but there's really no supplemental aid for them at this point.
Not that we know of exactly. I mean, we've been told there will be that will be. We'll figure it out. We'll take care of it. Those kinds of words have been thrown around by various individuals in the state level, but do I know exactly how that'll all work out? No, I don't. The Department of Social Services is a part of this in terms of what they can provide and what the monies they're getting. But again, they're getting kind of the same message. So we're all just trying to work together to first and foremost meet the needs of these children and their families, because that's what's most important, getting these children in safe, healthy environments if that's what they need for their parents to go to work.
What's the website if people need to get resources? Where should they go?
They can contact the Childcare Council. They can just call our main office line at 585-654-4720, and they'll be connected and be able to connect to all the people that I work with. I'm not the only one that does anything here. I'm not even a spokesperson necessarily for the organization, just getting it out there, the information.
Sure, I understand.
That they can call the main line and you will be connected to who you're looking for in terms of what kind of care, where you need it, whatever county you might be in, and then we can help hook you up and have the resources you need to find the care you need.
So to summarize, there are available care providers this time for those who need it. Our schools are active, providing food regardless of previous need. They're available, and we should thank the people.
And also, also the schools. We're being told by, this is on my school board side. If the need arises and they're trying to determine if that need is there yet or when it will be, the keep making money, and obviously they already have a setup in their homes or in their businesses that are perfect for children. So I'd prefer to put the kids there than to start opening up all of our school buildings. And
so let me pause you for a second, I want to make sure people get the clear information. The schools may be open for that later. Right now, there are existing childcare providers that are still open. We can seek out those resources. Meanwhile, the schools are providing meals in Geneseo County on a 3-day basis going forward. But regardless of
the town, the village of Geneseo, town of Geneseo,
excuse me, but I think the foods are available in regardless of the school district across the county.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All schools have to provide that. Yes.
Okay. Beyond, let's change gears for a second here, or switch gears. in your own family life, you've also been sort of a trailblazer and an advocate for your own children who dealt with various issues personally. You want to talk about that at all? Is that okay to talk about?
Sure. Yeah. I have two children. I have a 21-year-old and a 17-year-old, and they were both born uh, female children to me. I raised them as female children. I have my 20-year-old who is now my son. He has transitioned fully to not surgically, but he's making the transition to being trans male, and he is going to school up north at a college SUNY College. And so we as a family have been, over the last year and a half, couple of years, I mean, it started pretty young. We knew something was going on with him early on. First, he came out as being gay, which was fine. That was like, didn't even took that in stride. Didn't really didn't really even blink for that one. Have a lot of friends and family that are in the LGBTQ community, so and we weren't really surprised, to be honest with you. About 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, he came to us, and he'd been struggling with some mental health issues, and not horribly, but a little bit, and came to us with this and said, I really think I'm not living my true self, and I need to do that to be whole, to be a whole.
So let's talk about the first part of this, because in my lifetime, acceptance of human sexuality and the variances in human sexuality and LGBTQ plus rights, it's been the biggest change for equality and human dignity that I've seen in my lifetime. If I think about how anyone that's even a little bit different in any way sexually, on the scale of human sexuality was treated compared to now, it is night and day in most communities. But like you just said, you handled it very well. But that's been a big change in both of our lives, correct?
Oh, most definitely, sure. And I think actually this change is still even to some degree bigger than, just coming out as gay. Not that, I want to be clear, I understand there's so much more we need to do for the entire LGBTQ community, period, end stop. But I think trans individuals are, having a real difficult time of late, especially in the current environment in the federal government, finding their rights and being treated as they should be.
So as your child went through this, how did you, first of all, how did you seek help for them emotionally, and how did you care and protect them? Because we still live in a very bigoted and horrible culture in a lot of ways, where people are attacked and vilified. How did you help? How did you protect your son, especially living in rural New York?
Well, first I'll say this. We live in an incredibly wonderful environment, community.
Geneseo is special. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was very fortunate. He has said this himself, so I don't feel like I'm saying anything he wouldn't say himself. He found nothing but acceptance within his circle of friends, within his family and extended family. All of our family and extended family handled it in stride. Everybody's dealing with the pronoun change a bit differently. That's a tough one when you're used to saying she and her for 21 years. To flip to he and him is tough. But nobody has disowned him or told him anything ugly. And even outside of that, our close family, friends, and things like that, nothing but love and support. So that's been
And
wonderful for us.
that love and understanding was the big difference for him, you think?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it was terrifying. He was terrified to tell. I mean, obviously he was scared to tell us a little bit, though he knew we'd probably be okay. And I'm not going to say, I want to be clear. This is not easy. I mean, what I'm saying now is after months and months of crying and, struggling to wrap your
Because you
brain
worry,
around
right?
it.
Is that what it was? A
Sure.
lot, yeah.
It's it's also, you know your child a certain way for 20 years, 19 years, and that has to change. All you have to switch gears, you have to change pronouns, you have to see them a little differently, treat them in the manner in which, for instance, when she was a she had a nickname, a cutesy girl nickname, which was very meaningful to my husband. That had to go. That had to be dropped, because that wasn't who he was anymore. So I mean, there's just things that are special to your own relationship with that person that might have to change, and that's a
So
little
you
bit of a
more
grieving
you kind of
process.
more you mourn the change, and change is hard no matter what it is.
Right.
And this is for
Mm-hmm.
someone you love more than anyone in the whole world. It's your child.
Right.
So what are some pieces of advice that he and you would provide to the community at large, and that who are going through this? Because let me tell you, you're not the first person in Y27 who I met that's going through this. I know people from very conservative families that handle it, and you're handling it. We are all humans and part of the same human family, and we all go through various experiences that we share together. So this is a subject matter and a piece of advice that you can give to people that will affect more people than most of us think. So what would you tell parents, and what would you share with families and children that are going through this?
um Listen, listen hard. Put your own stuff aside. It's about that person. It's about making them whole. They don't feel whole until you accept who they know and feel they are, inside and out. And it's not easy. Don't it won't be. It's a struggle. Be kind to yourself. I have a lot of people telling me not to kick myself too hard when I mess up, or if I accidentally use the wrong pronoun, or if I am upset. I feel bad sometimes that I'm upset. I feel like I'm being a bad mom. Like, why am I having such a hard time with this? Why am I upset right now about this particular thing going on with him? It's okay. We're all going through a pretty big transition. He is, we are. And that's okay. You got to let yourself off the hook. But most importantly is, this is a person you brought into the world that you are, most people would state, I hope, that they unconditionally love their child. And if you unconditionally love your child, then you love them for who they
So,
are. And this is who they are. So,
well, Jen, listen, you've made all of us feel a little bit more whole sharing that, and I appreciate your courage to do that, and I appreciate your son, and I appreciate your community, the community of Geneseo, that is a forgiving and loving, and compassionate place where people can feel whole. And I hope we
I
can
would,
make our whole country that way.
and I would also say this, and this I think goes beyond, it's bigger. We have to fight harder for them, for all of them. Not, I mean, all LGBTQ, the entire community, but in particular right now, the trans community. I mean, they really need our love and support. They need us to
Absolutely.
stand by them, to help them get to keep getting the equal rights they deserve, the health care they have. It's really difficult for them to get certain things through health care that they should have. And gender neutral bathrooms. I know people get all upset about that, but we have gender neutral bathrooms in our homes. You know what I mean? I mean, we all use the same bathroom. I don't know what the big deal is in some regards. It's like, if you can lock a bathroom door, what's the deal? So there's just lots of things where I just think we get all worked up. That's just not worth getting worked up for. These people are our loved ones, and they deserve all the same rights that everyone else has. And we need to all be fighting for that, not just me as the mom or my husband as the dad, but our family and friends need to stand up to people that are bigoted and closed-minded and short-sighted, and say, these are our loved ones, these are our community members. They're going to be a part. He's going to become a social worker. He's going to be a social worker one day. He's going to be helping your kid and your family and your elderly. um, let's help him now so he can be as successful in his life as he deserves to be. So
I, I
that's
think that I think that you hit the nail on the head. If we can allow anybody in our society to feel more welcome and loved, that we'll create more welcome and love for ourselves as well. And I think hate is coming from ignorance often, and we have to just keep talking so people are less ignorant about these issues and they care more about their brothers and sisters in our society. Well, listen, Jenn, you are fantastic, and you're a fantastic guest to have on here. I'm
Thank
glad to know you, and I'm glad for your work and your advocacy, and I hope to see you in person at the Euro Cafe in Geneseo soon.
your new digs are right next door. So hopefully, when you're in town
Yeah,
again, we can meet up there. That would be
it made
nice.
me. We picked the location because we wanted it to be so close to the cafes down there, and we're closed up, but it's still there, and hopefully we'll be open up soon enough in that office.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too. I hope this doesn't last too long, but I will say I'm a big advocate of we're going to do this as long as we need to do this for us all to be safe and healthy, and that we keep those of us in our society who are more vulnerable and immunosuppressed as healthy as we can for as long as we can. And so everyone stay home. Don't let your kids have play dates. Don't be hanging out with all your friends. Like, stay
Look,
home. Okay.
I'll say personally, this has been one of the hardest things I've ever gone through because I've been fighting for uh, this election. And I saw when the governor said April 28th is going to be the peak of the virus or around that time. And I said, we can't have an election. And
Right.
just so everyone knows, the date has been delayed to June,
Hmm.
which the newspaper called me today and said, is that good for you or bad? And I said, I don't know if it's good or bad. How can I speculate?
Right.
But I think April 28th was a pretty darn good date for us, we thought originally. So good that the Republican Party sued to move the date. So, but but it's just the right thing to do. We have to move the date. And
Yeah.
frankly, if June's not safe, then we got to figure something else out. We have to. The politics is secondary right now, and our country, we have to get ready, and we have to take care of this. Other countries have done it, and if we all work together, we can get it done quicker. But I keep saying to everybody, until we handle the health crisis, we cannot handle the economic crisis or anything else. The health crisis has to be handled first. Health is our top priority. So
Yep.
we're gonna keep working towards it. And I hope thank you for your strong advice on that regard.
No problem.
Well, Jenn, I'll see you soon. Okay,
You bet. Thanks.
keep safe.
Torin, let's just take a couple questions real quick because I promised my kids I shoot a couple jump shots with them in the yard. Man, Eddie, I was a latchkey kid, so to speak. I think I was the first generation that they called them latchkey kids. Yeah, you're right. I, it's a, it's a tough time because not only are these kids alone, even if we identify them, I'm not sure who should be visiting them because of the health issues involved. We don't want to have not just them. I mean, when the virus first broke, I said to my team, and this was back early. I mean, this is like probably in February. I said this is going to come to America, and we're going to have to be ready for it. And I didn't understand the full scope of the impact of this at that time. But I said, can we volunteer at senior centers? Can we do Meals on Wheels? And we brainstormed about ways we can help the community. And to be honest with you, a lot of the things we thought of originally, we just can't do because we'll expose others to risk. And the advice I've given my team is remember, treat yourself as if you have the virus. Because if you think of yourself as having the virus, you're less likely to be around people that may also be susceptible to the virus. And we have to have that mindset for a while. And for kids at home, I don't have an easy answer for you. I wish I did. But I'm glad that you're thinking about it, and we should all be thinking about it because there's a million other questions or issues that we have that we don't have easier answers for right now. we need to treat the type of intolerance that we were talking about earlier as something from an archaic time, something that's just not of our era, antiquated and unacceptable. Like we would treat, I don't know, some other type of medieval practice. What I will do is be a fearless advocate, whether I'm in Congress for a day or 20 years. I will always be a fearless advocate for LGBTQ plus rights. I grew up here too, okay? And I remember hearing slurs, and even when I was a kid, I used to me as a poor kid in San Francisco going to law school, and the way I was treated with respect by people that were my professors, people that were my peers. And I think that just having that opportunity to talk to other people that are different from you can bring a large degree of understanding and awareness. So I will keep talking about these issues because they're important to me, and I encourage you to do the same. And when you hear insensitive language, or when you hear slurs that are targeted or homophobic, tell people, don't do that. It's hurtful. And you don't have to do it in a way that's haughty or self-righteous. You can do it in a way that's caring, that helps people understand, that maybe not understand before, that their language is wrong. And we can't fix everywhere in a day. But like I said in the beginning, we've made huge progress in this country. And there's a long way to go, but we'll get there as long as we keep strong and keep fierce. They can't hear you. Okay, well, listen. Guys, I got to say, can you hear me? Can they hear me? I got to say to everybody, we do not have great bandwidth. I mean, the whole country is struggling with bandwidth right now. I just read an article about it because we're all online. I've been talking about this since I first got in politics. We need broadband now. I don't understand why our country's so far behind in this regard. We are behind. Understand that. Look at the speeds in other countries, and we got to change it. So that will be another priority when I get to Washington. That's not some superficial thing. This virus is not going away anytime soon. And let me tell you, it's not the last epidemic or pandemic. We need to create a society that's able to communicate from distances. It's the future. And the only way to do that is to have an internet backbone that actually works. So we'll keep working on that. Guys, thanks for watching. We will talk again soon, all right?